Alright, says we're live. What's up, YouTube? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Geekus Theoreticus podcast. My name is Asmagon, and this is my co-host.
I am Ludus Infinium, and I am having technical difficulties, apparently.
Why is it not showing up?
I had to refresh it, and sure enough, I went into an unskippable ad.
Fucking course. The thing is, on normal videos, YouTube allows you to click non-skip or skip if you allow them. Of course, YouTube can still put them on there. You ever notice that? Like, you can click to not have non-skippable ads, but they'll still put them on there, because I've had people complain about that before. I literally turned off non-skippable ads, and they still put non-skippable ads on my videos. So I think it's more or less your suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, everyone watching, I'm a little congested. Allergies, it's the springtime here in the old Maine. And when the flowers aren't completely covered up by gigantic, like, heavy weights of snow, for some reason all of a sudden they're like, fuck, like when the flowers raise from the proverbial grave, they're just like, fuck you. Allergy season. Fucking hate it. Alright, so today's topics, we actually have some prepared. Granted, we still prepared them last minute, but we have some. It's better than our last, like, 4 or 5 episodes where it's really been by the seat of our pants, like, hey, what's a random discussion we can bring up?
Yeah, but we actually came up with some halfway decent ones that are, pretty relative.
It's a miracle for us, let me tell you.
Yeah, it really is.
So the first one, a couple of them, Ludus is probably gonna have a lot more to say about than others, because I know you don't collect the miniatures, so that's obviously a decent source of unfamiliar. What's the word? Unfamiliarity. I don't know if that's even a fucking word. Yeah. So with that in mind, our first topic. Again, apologies. So this is from the Warhammer Fest thing that's going on right now, where like every day GW releases some more information about upcoming projects, upcoming miniatures, stuff like that, line updates. It's Warhammer Fest, yay! Well, I guess we'll go over day 2 first. That makes sense, right? So I haven't been following the Warhammer Fest too closely until I saw these 2 articles. So from now on, I'll probably be more on point with paying attention to what the latest releases are. So, but on day 2, as I'm sure plenty of you are aware, on day 2 for Warhammer Fest, they announced a new model for the Sisters of Battle. Well, a few actually. That's the thing. They're not limiting themselves to just one miniature announcement. It's amazing. But in the day 2 fest, so let me see if I can get the name of this model run. Morvenval Abbess Sanctorum of the Adeptus Auroritas. I probably butchered that, not gonna lie. But yeah, it's basically, I'm assuming, an elite unit or an HQ even, based on the new mech thing for the Sororitas that I've noted in a previous stream was, actually somebody else noted it and I laughed my ass off, is basically the, what's it called, the power loader from Alien, or Aliens? That power loader that Ripley used to kick the shit out of the Xenomorph Queen. Yeah, I haven't been able to not see that since. So now, apparently, Morvenval's model is basically the elite or HQ, possibly HQ version of that. Do you have the article pulled up? I'm assuming you do.
Yeah, I'm reading through it, and I'm just wondering if she's actually a fucking Mary Sue.
I have no idea. I think I'm not familiar with this character in the lore. Is it a new character, or is this a pre-established character?
I don't know if it's pre-established, but here's what she is as far as this article is concerned. She is also a High Lord of Terra now, on the recommendation of Girly Man, and as if, and this is me directly quoting from the paragraph.
So wait, I didn't even see that. A High Lord of Terra?
Yeah. Wait. And this is finishing up that paragraph. And if that wasn't enough of a ringing endorsement, Val is held in such high esteem by the Adeptus Custodes that they grant her stewardship of the fabled Lance of Illumination, a legendary blade with which she can sweep aside the unclean or pierce even the foulest tide with ease. As a High Lord of Terra and head of the Order's militant, Morven Val's authority is absolute. Her status puts her right on par with other faction leaders such as Sazrek, the Silent King, Abaddon the Spoiler, and Captain General Trajan Valoris.
Huh.
Yeah.
I
But
don't know
as
how I feel
far,
about this.
I mean, I'm okay with her being a High Lord of Terra. That part I don't care about. It's just if she's pre-established or not. That's the part that I'm wondering.
The thing is, I like the look of her model, despite the fact that I'm not really a huge fan of the design overall of those new mechs for the Adeptus Sororitas. I like that actual detailing and extras on the model itself. They actually look pretty interesting. Listening to that though, I think the part that gets me is, correct me if I'm wrong, I can't think of too many other High Lords of Terra that would enter battle directly. Aren't they usually they're the head of the Administratum?
Pretty much, yeah.
They
So,
stay out of combat typically because they're quite literally the head of the snake of the Imperium,
so she
or head of the
was.
eagle.
I think she's a new character because the only thing I can find is at the start of the Indominus Crusade, she was placed in her position by Lord.
Yeah,
Commander
if it's Indominus Crusade, it's literally brand fucking new because that
yeah,
everything related to the Indominus Crusade has pretty much come out since
which I'll say that
directly before the Indominus box itself released.
which,
So, yeah.
again, I'll say that having a Sister of Battle as a High Lord of Terra, I'm actually behind that idea. I'm more behind that than some other ecclesiarchal fuck.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
I absolutely hate the ecclesiarchy.
No, again, the
But
only part I have a problem with is poor wording, but the only part that like puts me pause is that a High Lord of Terra is entering battle. And isn't that kind of like giving the president an AR-15 and saying, "Hey, go kill some Xenos"? And don't get me wrong, badass. And if he survives and succeeds and beats a badass, awesome. You feel more inclined to follow him. But if he dies, you're leaderless.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of a cool aspect for High Lords of Terror because that way they're not all just spineless little shits.
True.
So, I mean, that's a cool infusion of life into the High Lords, but at the same time, I don't really care for it being a new character. Take one of the already the higher ranking Sisters of Battles that have already been in the lore. Make one of them a High Lord of Terror, not just someone new just cuz lol. And after that, I'm pretty okay with it. Like I said, that's just really the only thing I'm having a hard time getting over is that it's just a brand new character. And the thing that really
as long as she's written well, I don't mind her being brand new. I hope they come out with some kind of, I don't know, even like a minor short story or something about her. Hopefully well written. Get Dan Abnett on this shit. Yeah. But I don't know, interesting idea having a High Lord of Terra be on the front lines fighting alongside and leading the Sisters of Battle. Pretty cool. And again, I like the detailing and stuff on her miniature.
I like the fact that it's a big ass baby carrier.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not.
Sisters of Battle are so fun.
I'm not
them in the grain.
I don't know. The pet peeve about this like mech design is the head is completely exposed. And don't get me wrong, they have helmets. We've seen variations with helmets still, but it's still like right there in the center. Center mass for this fucking thing includes the head.
What I love is that the bolter has
also your actual arms are exposed.
But the bolter has a shield. I do actually like that.
Actually, when you call that a Because I know a buckler is typically like a small, really small shield that basically covers just your, like, just a little bit into your arm and your wrist. But wouldn't that be like a kind of, sort of, I don't know, not buckler, but there's a term specifically for when they make an armored shielding around a weapon.
Well, so I know in Army of Two that you can get shields for your guns, and that's more along lines of what it's like. So that's why I don't think it's considered a buckler, because that's up on the side of your arm, like right here.
Freeman Reigns politicians on the front line seems kind of off to me. For 40K?
Yes.
Yeah, it is kind of off, but at the same time, cool idea. I mean, the idea that even the High Lords of Terra aren't exempt from entering the fray, I actually kind of like that idea. Because up to this point in the lore, let's be honest, High Lords of Terra have held no weight. Like when you think of a High Lord of Terra, you think of the snobby assholes who are above it all. Like, yeah, send another 10,000 to deal with this vacation world problem. We have a couple of ruffians who are ruining my planet. Meh. Yeah, that's typically like what you think of when you think of a High Lord of Terra.
Because
I've never thought of anything respectable.
They do hold a little bit of weight because there are certain groups that answer almost solely to the High Lords of Terra.
No, what I mean is, like, you as a reader or you as a consumer of the lore, like, when you think of High Lord of Terra, you don't think badass, great, powerful.
Oh, no, I
think snobbish,
bureaucratic
politicians on high. That's what we think. I'm not saying they don't actually hold any tangible power. Of course they do. They're the High Lords of Terra. But at that same note, they to us, the fans, don't really hold much in terms of weight. God damn. But yeah, like I said, I'm not a fan of the mech design. I get that it's inspired by... They're not even hiding it. It's inspired by the power loader from that Ripley used to kick the Xenomorph Queen's ass. I get that it's a reference to that, and yeah, like, cool, awesome references, but I'm thinking logically here of, like, the usage in battle. And when the center mass of this object includes the head, even if you wear a helmet, you're kind of making you're kind of making it easier to hit the head. Well, and also the arms being exposed. Like, why? Like, the reason the power loader in Aliens was a tool. It was literally like a forklift, essentially, just with motionable legs. That's all it was. It was not meant for fighting, so its flaws, like exposed arms and stuff like that, made sense, or at the very least could be excused because they weren't built for fighting. This assumingly is designed as a weapon of war in the 40K universe. There are plenty of factions that are accurate enough to blow your arms off from a pretty far away distance. So having those equally heavily armored as the actual mech arms is kind of smarter way to go. I'm just not, again, cool references, but it logically, to me, it just doesn't make sense. It's like, hey, let me leave my head in my arm. Let me leave my head emphasized by my armor and my arms exposed. I don't know. It's just the logistics of that annoy me. But if I can put, like, the logic of, like, its usage in battle aside, it's a cool looking model. I like the reference to Aliens. I think that really fits with the Sisters of Battle. And I like the detailing of the model. It looks like it'd be fun to paint. I can't entirely disassociate the logic of its usage in battle. But not to hold on that model too much. So Astra Thurga and Agatha Dolan. I'm trying to... I'm just gonna review these model-wise. I'm not seeing much, like, just eyeballing the lore. I don't see anything else.
You don't have the models pulled up on the stream, if that's what you're trying to do too.
No,
okay.
I'd have to switch to our React view, and that would disable the chat, at least on Ustream. Also, welcome Nathan, and welcome Moraine, and welcome Alex. Welcome to the stream, guys. Yeah, we're just going over the Warhammer Fest stuff. I suppose at the behest of sacrificing the chat. People aren't too busy in the chat right now, anyway. Okay. Alright, so this is what we're looking at. Keep an eye on the chat for me, because I can't see it right now.
Yeah, I have it pulled up on my second screen.
Alright, so this is the model we've been looking at, the Morven Vol Abyss Sanctorum of the Adeptus Auroritas.
The baby carrier.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the... I get that it's a reference to Alien, I do, and Ripley's badass, yes. But again, think of this logically. In battle, why would you want your head emphasized in this suit? And why would you also want to leave your arms exposed?
Because
it's a nitpick. It's a nitpick, I admit that. But I'm allowed to have a nitpick, okay? I'm allowed to have a few. But again, I think it looks like a cool model. Outside of, like, thinking logically for fighting. Ashturga and Agathe Dolan?
Let me scroll back up, because I was down all the way to the Castigator, because I like the tank. Hold on, let me scroll back up. Ashturga and Agathe Dolan.
Model-wise, they're not too interesting, but I don't think they're meant to be. They're basically a Sororitas banner holder.
Yeah.
What is... Okay, banner knows the auto tapestry. Astrid is held in great reverence to the Holy Mars militants.
Scroll down one to the next model.
Oh,
does
Dogmata.
It not look like she was hit in the face with a fucking shovel?
Yeah, the faces on the models are rarely good.
Well, no, there's some that aren't.
This one looks
really...
like it. This looks like it. The mold looks like it was made in the 90s.
The thing is like, assuming I'm getting them right, Agatha Dolan, the one on the right-hand side, and even to an extent, Morven Fall, their faces don't look that bad. Astra Thurga kind of looks like they kind of fucked up an orc mold.
Well, that's what I'm saying is it looks like it's a mold that they carried over from the 90s. Like, this looks like an old mold.
Right, and then Dogmata's just looks like, what would make this look cool? Let's just squish it a little bit, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely not a good-looking mold here. Unless you're a fan of, like, the older molds, but this one looks kind of blocky. Yeah. Hashtag needs work. Palatine, first seen back in July.
The crude face isn't that bad. Like, I know there's going to be discrepancies and shit, and some of them they're going to look a little rough, and hers does, but it doesn't look as bad.
No, doesn't look. The thing is, most of these look pretty good.
Just not Dogmata.
Just Dogmata's where the intern of the week worked on this one. That face is pretty bad. But yeah, otherwise they look pretty solid. Some other variants they show here. I like the shield, actually. That's really cool. Kind of looks like a coffin head. Yeah, I like the hooded design. Their faces, though. I get that the mold of the face is like mushed in under the hood or the bar here, but the faces look kind of rough on those ones, especially that one. But yeah, just eyeballing through everything. Yeah, getting new Sisters of Battle stuff. Though I don't like all of it, I think it's pretty solid. I think everything looks all right. Nothing really screams out to me, this is utter crap. Again, more or less just some nitpicks here and there. So, yeah, good for the Sisters of Battle players. You guys get some new stuff. Hold on, I'm gonna... Actually, can I pull up the chat on my phone? That would really help me right now.
So far it's not really, most is Marlena Moreau said GW can't sculpt women faces. Oh, and hi everyone. Alex Grigorov, hi there. Rain is acting like she's asleep saying who, what, where.
Who, what, where, when, and why. Alright, 1 second, guys. I do wanna... I don't know why, but YouTube lately has been completely shitting the bed when in regards to the thumbnails. I don't know why it pixelates them so fucking bad. But yeah, welcome Marlena Moreau. Sorry, I said Monroe. My apologies, Moreau. The Nundums suck. There, I said it. I don't think that they're dreadful or terrible. Assuming you're referencing the mech design, I just think they're just illogical. I get that they were prioritizing like coolness factor, and they were prioritizing, you know, like references. Like, what's a cool reference to like something they're a fan of, which I'm also a fan of. Ripley from Aliens. I like the reference. It brings a smile to my face. But the moment I think about its logical use, kind of like, this doesn't make sense. That is me though. Second screen, fancy. I've always had 2 screens. The problem is I don't have a third to keep an eye on the
me where I said I could watch the chat on my second screen.
Ah, okay. You thought the Commissar was bad? I did. I didn't. I don't recall. GW can't skull with it. No, they really can't. Problem is for years they've primarily only had to mold out male faces with the Space Marines and such. So they really need to bring somebody in who's had some experience 3D modeling female faces and knows how to sculpt as well. That way they can get better faces. Because yeah, that is though it's minor, I think, in the grand. Keep in mind, they're zoomed in on the minis in this web page, but in reality they'd be like this fucking big. So, well, this fucking big, or like maybe at biggest like this big off of the base. So there's not a lot of room to make them too detailed. Oh, and hi everyone. Hello, Marlena. Welcome. No, you. I meant from the viewpoint of a guardsman on the front line. Anyways. Oh, okay. So, okay. They were actually talking about like model-wise. But yeah, that's that was day 2's Warhammer Fest of Sisters of Battle updates, and I'm sure the Sisters of Battle players are really excited. I really do want to collect some Sister of Battle stuff, because I can't possibly collect them as an army, because I already have so many other armies I'm collecting at the moment. But I would want to collect at least 1 or 2 of their like fancier models just to paint as fun projects. But yeah, not to collect as an army, unfortunately. I wouldn't be able to do that. I'm going to leave the chat on my phone right there.
And if I did collect an army, it would definitely be Chaos. So, that would, or at least that would be the first one I would do.
Alright, so this is, full screen it. This is Warhammer Fest Day 3. This is what came out, I believe, yesterday, wasn't it? Yep, 5th May. So, this is the one that really, like, caught my eye, and this is what has now made me interested in actually paying attention to the rest of the Warhammer Fest, is they're finally coming out with new guard shit. I thought I'd be old, decrepit, and have dementia before they fucking updated the guard line. Now, I just eyeballing this article, I didn't see if they said this is like an official update to the line, or these are like a limited time thing. I'm leaning to the idea that they might be like a limited time bonus set of models, because when you scroll down past the actual showcase of the models, they showcase a bunch of this other collectible stuff. Like the Vincula Insurgency, Sabat War, you know, they showcase a lot of this collectible stuff. New book, which all this minus the books, of course, minus the books from this particular stuff, more or less from hyper focusing. The Vincula Insurgency leads me to think that these guys might be temporary or limited time models, which would suck, because the line needs to be updated. It needs to be updated and left updated. Give us those new models and leave them on the fucking line to be bought. But at least there's something new for Guard. Again, I really hope that they're an actual update to the line, even if it's a minor one. Just something.
Robert Chalk said that GW said they're permanent.
Thank fucking Christ. Oh, that is some great news then. That is some fantastic news. Because I garter the second army I've been collecting. Well, my main army, for those who've heard me say before, my main army when it comes to 40k is orcs. I have so many orcs, and I haven't painted anywhere near all of them. But I love my orcs. I love collecting orcs. They are my main army, for sure. But my second army is probably Astra Militarum. Most people, their Space Marine army is usually like their first, second, or third army. My first two are Orcs and Astra Militarum, which are both Horde armies. So lots of money going down the drain to those. Thankfully, I've been saving a lot of money through 3D printing some extra stuff here and there. So, haha, money saver. Of course, when I'm too lazy.
I will say that if I ever did really get into the miniatures, my first armies, my top 3 would probably be Thousand Suns, Death Guard, and probably IG.
Ooh. Neat.
But if I do IG, I'm definitely doing Death Corps, because they're fucking awesome.
There's a problem there.
There are no Death Corps models, are there?
There are none produced by GW.
Oh, well, fuck GW. I don't have to get them from
There's
GW.
Forge World, which 10 Krieg Guardsmen is $72.
See, this is also why I don't do miniatures.
No, well, that's the thing. If you collected normal guard and got Cadians, 5 Cadians cost $10.
Yeah.
$2 a normal Cadian soldier. So that's the thing. Forge World is known. They sell the special models, the specialty stuff. Usually resin models too.
Well, for me, it's that the reason I want Death Corps is because I love their lore. Like, everyone's like, oh, they have such a good look. Like, it's not that I love their lore, and I also kind of I love the way they fight. Because they're like, we don't give a shit how many people we lose, just throw it at them.
Yeah. What might interest you, by the way, when it comes to these updates, outside the new guard updates, which I can't wait to get these, but the lore-wise, there's a new book coming out by Dan Abnett. It's the Sabbat War. It's a Sabbat Worlds anthology.
Actually, there's another book in that list by Chris Raitt. The Horus Heresy Siege of Terra. Warhawk.
Ooh.
Yeah!
Siege enters a frantic new phrases. Traitor Vanguard nears the heart of the palace. The defenders... Oh, it has Mortarion right on the front, too.
Mortarion and the Khan. Which is really cool, because one of my favorite scenes in 30k is Horus, Mortarion, and the Khan were all on the same planet, and Horus gave overall command to Jagatai Khan. He gave the Khan overall control of the 5th, 14th, and 16th Legion. He's like, okay, so we'll do this your way, because you seem to know best how to handle it. And Mortarion really didn't like that, but they ended up really winning, and Mortarion earned a lot of respect for, well, earned as much respect as Mortarion was going to get, let's be fucking honest for a minute, for the Khan. And so, going from that story to this one is actually kind of like a really cool, hey, we're working well together too. I'm going to fucking murder you.
It's the best kind of relationship.
Brotherly love.
I love you. I hate you. I want to kill you. I knew you cared. Yeah, I think that would be interesting. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, we're getting plenty of book updates in this particular Warhammer Fest article. I'm most excited, obviously, for the guard units, especially hearing that they're permanent and they're not unlimited time bullshit. It's awesome. In terms of the books, the one that caught my eye the most was the Dan Abnett's Sabbat War. I think that'll be pretty interesting because I love guardsman stories in particular. The perspective of the normal man fighting in the 40k universe. How can you not find that fascinating? Oh, excuse me.
The
That's
book
my
series
stuffy.
I want to get into is the Wars for Armageddon. That seems like a good book series.
Oh, indeed. Dash. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I'm going bookmark. Oh, they have a bookmark.
And it's also not because I have an unreasonable love for
Take a
all
bet how
things,
expensive the bookmark is going to be. This is GW we're talking about.
probably about 40-50 bucks.
You want to buy
but-
this limited? They even have it. They have it in a cardboard box. Okay, so you know that this ain't something that like you know bookstores. For those of you who still go to bookstores like myself, you know bookstores like literally at checkout they have like these stacks of bookmarks that just say like random shit on them, and they're usually randomly themed. Like there might be a Harry Potter one. There might be, you know, they usually have stacks of them right there that are kind of like in like little card slots. You can grab them, and they cost like $2, $3 max if you get like a really fancy one. I don't know. I see GW being like, you know, we're gonna put this in a fancy cardboard box. We're gonna really hype it up, and we're gonna sell it for like $30.
You know what? That would actually be really cool. I hate saying that because it would require for 40K to go live stream, really, or go mainstream.
I was gonna say, did you say live stream?
Yeah, because
they live stream all the time. That's nothing new.
But no, if they go mainstream, because just imagine like a stack, like multiple stacks of bookmarks with phrases from each faction on.
And if I could get a stack of those, like a bookmark per faction, I'd pay like $5 for that, $10 for that.
Well, no, because it's like, imagine getting to the Chaos ones.
If it's just one, the thing is, what I picture them doing here is like, here's one measly little car. Here's one little bookmark. We're gonna put it in a cardboard box and sell it to you for $20. I don't know. That's the kind of stuff GW does sometimes. So I would not be surprised if that ends up being the case.
Well, no, it would be funny because like you would go through it and like imagine this like in a bookstore and maybe even a kid sees it. You know, you have the one that's like Force Lanesh has tentacles all around it. Then you get to the corn one that says kill, kill, kill. For Grandfather Nurgle, Zinch, which probably has it in invisible ink because GW is fucking assholes. Then you get to like the Imperial Guards. You get to like the Imperium and the best defense is a strong mind or some shit. I can't remember what the exact phrasing is, but you know, you start getting into those. You see a little kid walk up there and look at him and be completely fucking confused.
Marlena Moreau says it's a bloody bookmark. Calm down, GW. This is GW we're talking about, Marlena. Okay, calm in GW when it comes to the pricing. If they feel like people are dumb enough to buy something for an exorbitant price, they're gonna put it up for that.
Oh yes.
And again, as I mentioned in my stream yesterday, for those who were there, I'm kind of getting less and less mad at GW and more mad at my fellow like my fellow consumers of GW products, because the thing is, yeah, exactly, that's the thing. I'm, you know, the more rationally I think about it, I can't blame GW for their pricing, because literally it's the consumer that defines what the pricing can be. If they try and sell a set of guardsmen for 5 guardsmen for $10, people will buy them. I think each guardsman, especially in those little boxes of like each one should be $1. It should be a $5 box for 5 easy assemble guardsmen. But it's $10. $2 per model that's gonna get nuked off the fucking board in like a minute. It's like if you bought like a pawn, like 5 pawns for a chessboard, right? And each one was like $2. It's pretty much as ridiculous as that to me. But again, I can't blame GW for their pricing, because they only price things with what people will still buy.
Oh yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's just good business, and I'm getting less and less mad at them, and more mad at my fellow consumers who are like, "Fuck it, we don't need to think, we don't need to be thoughtful.
We
about
don't
the
need
pricing.
rational thought here.
I don't need to keep track of my expenses. I'm a whale. I'll just buy it all the moment it's on sale. I don't care how much the dollar price is. Fuck that. Vote with your dollar. It's the most powerful way you can talk to GW, unfortunately.
Here's my random gift for the day. I'm DMing you a picture.
Gift? bookmark. Who reads books nowadays? I read books. Come on. I'm actually in the middle of rereading the Werewolves series, which I fucking love that. I'm not paid to do this, but I'm gonna advertise this real quick. Alright, so I'm not paid to do this at all. So, Werewolf. It's by Curtis Jobling. I fucking love this series. I really do. I have read the first 3 books when they were coming out. I think it was in middle school, jeez. It's been a very long time. But I love this series quite a lot. And I highly recommend it. I really don't want to spoil anything or give too much away. But as the name Werewolf Book 1, Rise of the Wolf can probably imply to you, there's werewolves involved. If you're a fan of lycanthropes and were creatures and feel like they're underrepresented in film and fantasy, which they really are in my opinion, especially since my favorite classic monster is the Wolfman, and my favorite fantasy creature of any universe is usually werewolves. I just find the concept of half man, half wolf amazing. And intriguing. So if you really want a really damn good book series, a fantasy book series, yeah, it's not like Game of Thrones level. I'm not going to pretend that to you. But if you're looking for a good book series, it's entertaining, engaging, and you like werewolves, and you like werebears, and you like werefoxes, and you like werelions, and you like werehawks and weresharks. No, I'm not even kidding on that last one.
I can be less angry for you liking the Space Wolves now.
But like I said, I freaking love werewolves. They're my favorite fantasy monster and creature. So yeah, check out Werewolf if you guys are interested in finding a book series that, like I said, it's not Game of Thrones level, like detailed writing or anything. It's not gonna blow your socks off. It's not like, well, it's gonna, in certain ways it's going to, I think, but it's not like, I'm trying to word this correctly. It's not like out there of like the most epic of all fantasy adventures ever, but it's a great fantasy adventure, and I love the theme, so check it out. Again, I'm not paid to advertise that. Hashtag not sponsored. I just really like the book series, and I feel like very few people know about it. AR, thank you for the super chat, man. Thank you. Av Dominus Nox. Hail, brothers. Consumers will spend money for the sake of it burning a hole in the pocket and impulse buying new and shiny. Yes, unfortunately, that does happen a lot, and that's why I don't think GW prices are ever going to improve. The most I could say is the more and more I've thought about it rationally, the more and more I'm finding myself less pissed with GW. As a corporate body, if you can get away with it, you're going to do it. So I can't really blame them. I still am going to be mad at them when they make harebrained decisions like, hey, let's bring out the combat patrols. Awesome. Love the combat patrols. Great box sets. Let's also replace the Star Collecting boxes with these combat patrols. You lost me. Because Star Collecting boxes, I think, were a better entry into the miniature side of things anyway. Because $90 is a lot, but it's a lot more palatable than 140. Once you hit triple digits and you're trying to get someone new into the hobby, and you show them, hey, this is the box that is supposed to hit off your collection. Oh, it's $90. Yeah, it's really fucking steep, but fuck it, let's do it. But if the moment you say, oh, this is the box set to get you started with the hobby. Oh, it's $140. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to say no. I want to afford rent this month.
I remembered something funny. I didn't say anything, but I popped into your stream for a couple minutes yesterday, and I popped in at the perfect moment because you were showing off the bunker. And do you remember what you called it?
The StarCraft 2 bunker.
No, you didn't. You called it the Warcraft bunker, and it was funny as hell.
Oh no! You definitely jumped in at the wrong time because that was me reading off a comment.
Oh, okay.
Somebody else said that I was laughing at their mistake.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck? He likes playing StarCraft too. How did he make that the Warcraft bunker?
No, yeah, you definitely you hopped in a funny moment, yes, but no, I was reading someone else's comment. I thought it was funny that somebody else made that mistake in
Yeah.
chat, um, which was funny. But yeah, I when I first was showing it off, I said, "Hey, it's StarCraft 2 bunker. I mean, Space Marine Hammerfall bunker." Ooh. But then somebody else in the chat said, "Oh, it's a Warcraft bunker." I'm like, no. So yeah, you hopped in at an opportune time, yeah, but wrong time. Moraine the Dirty Puns. You can
Oh,
go.
Cal Kill called it the Warcraft bunker because he's not a player of either game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it was Calcul. Yeah, but it's, that's what happened in that stream. Is
Okay.
yeah. Oh, okay. So we're more or less. Let's see. Let me just eyeball back through here. I do like the book cover designs. Like,
Oh yeah,
this is
the
getting...
book cover designs look really, really well. I don't like the Broken City one though. The Broken City one looks kind of cringe.
Wait, which one's Broken City?
Uh,
Oh, that one. Yeah, it looks.
I get what they're trying to do, but it does look a little cringe.
It looks like crime novel-y, which I'm assuming is, well, fits. It's Warhammer Crime, so I'm assuming it's their attempt at doing like police novels in the 40k universe, which is actually an interesting idea, because with how the laws work, planet to planet, not to mention overarching Imperium laws, it'd be very interesting to see how they handle a crime novel.
Yeah.
Because typically when you think of like how like criminal acts are handled in 40k, we think of like big scale with like heretics and shit.
Yeah.
Being nuked by the Inquisition, so it'll be interesting to see like a. I'm assuming it's going to be a smaller scale kind of thing. Sanction and Sin. Oh, I really like that one. Yeah, they all look pretty solid for the most part. I don't like the font for the twice dead king. I don't know. It looks kind of basic. And I'm not saying they have to do like this really like fancy stuff, but I don't know. I find it almost jarringly like thin and like generic font.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, everything looks really, really good. I'm curious to see which of these books I actually end up picking up when I get the opportunity. But yep. So that's Warhammer Fest Day 2. I'm assuming. Oh, sorry, Day 3. Day 2 is the Sororitas stuff. I'm assuming we're gonna get something later today. But that does it for that news. So, look at the chat. I'm excited about new brakes on my car getting put on today. Nice. It's good to have brakes, you know, when you hit a stoplight. It's
just a little bit.
Instead of hitting the stoplight and just going, Lord, please take the wheel. Now you can go, I could press a pedal and slow down and
just
not
stop
die.
if you want to.
It's fantastic. I'm not gonna die. Okay. Hey Ace, how's it going? Hey guys, how goes it today? Pretty good. We just went over Warhammer Fest Days 2 and 3. Just, you know, generally went through everything. Didn't read everything like point by point, but went through everything generally, and it's pretty solid. How you doing, man? Wouldn't a 40k police novel just be police brutality with a touch of martial law and military equipment? Depending on the world. On a hive world, it'd definitely be hardcore draconian stuff. But let's say on a vacation world or an administrative world, you might see a little bit more intrigue in how it's handled. So it all depends.
That's a little bit interesting.
Yeah, but generally speaking, you're not far off. It would be fairly draconian. Yeah. Which is why it would be, again, though, that still can lead to a lot of kind of funny or fascinating ways in which, I guess, their own bureaucratic procedures for how they handle crimes can still go about. Be interesting to see how that's handled by the writer.
Yeah. Like I said, that's where I think it would be interesting. Like, especially if they do like a feral world or a death world, and just the two main examples that come to mind are like Catachan or Krieg.
I can't read that. Histotomy. I fucked that up. To the new subscriber, thank you for subscribing, man. Thank you. Thank you for the subscription to the channel. Always love the support. Today's theme was going to be boxed games. Let's hope for some new models for that, even if it's unlikely. And we'll see. Alright,
But
so
yeah, like
that was the Warhammer Fest stuff. So we're all caught up with that until we see today's releases. So
we got the 2 videos we were going to talk about. The one that you had from DT.
From WG Studios or
WG.
Mini Wargaming Studios. I've been subscribed to them for a while. I really like their stuff. My favorite series on their channel is Why We Love. It's where they just show their whole studio collection of their armies, fully painted up, and in their full collection. Oh, they have a lot. Because the thing is, it's multiple people collecting them, and they all just kind of bring them together and showcase them all, which is fucking fantastic. But that's like my favorite. That's my favorite. Like, it's a short series, but my favorite series that they did was just the Why We Love stuff. Because it's a very good showcase of like why people love 40K and why they like collecting armies and why they like playing with them. So I think Mini Wargaming are pretty solid people. So are PlayOn, which is I'm actually one of the mods on the PlayOn tabletop official Discord for their Patreon, which is nice. The thing is I can't be there all the time, but I check in, see if anybody's being rowdy, and make sure that the naughty naughties don't happen. One thing you need to know about the folks right here, we're not, by the way, for everyone on stream, we're not going to watch through this whole thing. I don't have any timestamps as well, so that's going to be interesting. Hopefully we can find the things I jumped in on their stream in the other day. Quickly, just listen to it briefly. But again, I can't guarantee nothing. So we'll probably listen to a good chunk of it, though. Probably like over half. Unless you're short for time.
No, I've got 2.5 hours.
Right.
As long as I'm out by 3:30, I'm fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I think me and Ace do our thing at 2:30, so I think I have another hour and a half. Hey, I'm thinking of running a kill team army. Any suggestions? Right now, I'm thinking of doing a Eldar or Nurgle one, but I'm not sold on either yet. Unfortunately, I am not a kill team expert. I wouldn't say I'm an expert on really much when it comes to the tabletop. Mostly it's just opinion stuff. And when it comes to kill team, though, time to shield for a friend of ours, or at least someone we're on friendly terms with. Kill Team Hungary. Check him out. He is, as the name suggests, he's very kill team focused. He loves kill team. He collects kill team forces. He's big on that over there. So go check him out sometime. If he's live streaming, I'm sure he'd love to have his brain picked about it. I highly recommend him. He's more of the expert when it comes to kill team stuff. Unfortunately, like, my opinion is just go for whatever army fascinates you most to have a kill team force for and play with that. But if you want like the number crunchy power gamer stuff, definitely talk to KTH or Kill Team Hungry. Yes, Chaos is my second favorite faction, mainly Nurgle or Slanesh. Chaos is, if we're talking about overall factions, they're probably outside of the It's outside of the Imperium. I'd say they are probably third, because there's the Imperium, Orcs, and then Chaos, I'd say.
And see, unfortunately for me, because I am a Chaos fan, I don't look at it straight up as Chaos as a faction, but I look at it as the individual factions as their own factions. Khorne, Nurgle, Slanesh, and Zing.
And thinking of Chaos as a unified force is kind of redundant, isn't it?
Well, it's like looking at the Imperium as a unified force. When the fuck can you get them to fight together unless it's against themselves?
Depends on the day.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, but still, I mean, like, when are you ever going to see, like, Assassinorum, Adeptus Sororitas, Adeptus Astartes, Imperial Guard, like, the whole lineup fighting together?
When they're being attacked in an overwhelming way against a Xenos or Chaos Force.
I mean, and
Basically,
I know that's
when they have a mutual enemy so overpowering that they have no choice but to work together.
it's funny because it's like it's oh yeah, that's like every other Tuesday
The thing
too.
is, it's not hard to get the guard to work with the sororitas because they always work. They constantly work together. Guardsmen and sororitas. If I'm not mistaken, though, it would be harder to get sororitas to work alongside the average Space Marines. I don't think that, if I'm not mistaken, the Sisters of Battle don't like the Space Marines. I know they like the Custodes. I don't think they like Space Marines.
Let me try and do a really quick search on that.
Yeah, I might be mistaken, but I think the reason for that is because the Sisters of Battle see the... they don't see the Space Marines as like the regular populace of the 40k Imperium do. They don't see them as, as immortal demigods, sons of the Emperor. They see them as flawed beings that led to the Horus Heresy. They find them corruptible, so therefore they're not worth the same amount of respect. I could be wrong, but that is my, I believe, my my takeaway from certain bits. Okay, I'll check him out. Yeah, we also did one of our podcast episodes on last like 3 or 4. One of them was with interviewing him and having him on. He was a great guest too. So mad thanks to Kill Team Hungry for that. The beauty of Kill Team is that you won't need to collect a lot of minis, so you can go... Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And there are a lot of people who want to get into tabletop stuff, but they don't want to expend, like, Jesus, a shit ton of money on armies just to get them to, like, a 2,000 point army. It's pretty ridiculous pricing. Where in Kill Team, if I'm not mistaken, the forces are much smaller. Like, I think they're like squads of like 6 or 7, depending on the faction. And, again, overall, much cheaper. So, Kill Team is like minor scale 40k. Like, it's a decimation of the size of like a full 40k game. I had to get into Kill Team one of these days. You want to play a mixed campaign one day? This is Calkill. Where different engagements use different systems, Kill Team, Vanilla, APOC, and each type of battle provides different bonuses and advantages. Well, if you use... The thing is, using different rule systems is inherently... Unless I'm misunderstanding you, is kind of a bad move. Because then when you get a lot of crosswires with like, okay, which rules are we following from this set that we're not following from this set, that we're following from this set. If I'm not mistaken, that would be a lot bigger of a headache than it's worth. Okay, there's a reason why people typically only stick to one system. Like, you're not going to play checker rules with chess and try and cross them. Actually, that's a bad comparison. There's plenty of crossover between the two. You're not going to play Dark Souls like World of Warcraft.
So I looked it up, and I haven't been able to find any concrete evidence, but a lot of what I'm saying people say
Calcio, I get that you remember the rules very well, but the thing is, unless you're playing a game by yourself with yourself, don't misinterpret that. But if you're just playing by yourself, then you're fine. Like, you're the only one who needs to remember all the rules. But remember, you got to play with another human being who may not remember all the same shit you do. So that's your biggest roadblock. You might have the power of anime and God on your side and memorize all those fucking rules. I'm imagining the average person who plays Kill Team or plays 40k or plays any of those games is used to just one rule set they have to remember. Probably willing to bet they don't have memorized the other systems, and then will also memorize what you are okay with and not okay with which rules you're going to derive from which system. If you can clone yourself, that would be like expert, wouldn't it? It's like, I'm going to throw myself in a cloning machine, and now I have the perfect partner to play with. Again,
but
don't
the only answer I could find on the Sisters of Battle as far as like what they think of Space Marines. And again, this is nothing concrete, but the general consensus is they're a bit put off by them because they, for the most part, see them as abhuman.
Yep.
So, yeah, I kind of get that. But now, realistically,
Hey, Cards Gordon, welcome to the stream.
That's where I've had to look in like about 5 different places, and none of it was GW specifically saying that. That's just people saying that.
Okay.
But they all point to the same consensus of they're kind of. It goes from they only interact when they have to they outright despise them. So I'll say it's probably somewhere in the middle where it's kind of like they just kind of put off by them.
It also might be chapter specific. This is all like fan theory crafting. If GW doesn't have a definitive like outline of how the Sororitas view the Astartes, I'd say it's one of those things where it's probably story specific.
Right.
I don't know. I would like the Sororitas to like the Space Marines, but I think logically, when I think about like how they're written and how they're set up in the lore, it makes sense to me that they would have a problem. They would have a problem with Space Marines. From this perspective that they're abhuman, but also from the perspective that the Horus Heresy was their fault. So, looking at it like that, I could see these Sororitas, especially with how religiously zealoted they are to the Emperor.
Yeah,
they would see the Angels of the Emperor very potential weak-minded individuals that could fall at any moment. So I can see them treating Space Marines like time bombs.
Well, I can also see them treating them as abhumans or mutants because they were once human. They are not anymore.
Nope.
So, and that's something else. I kind of love this argument to kind of segue. And this kind of is touched on in the video that I recommended, but it's like Space Marines aren't human.
No.
Like they were, yes, at one point, and they fight for the human faction, but that's like saying Chaos is a human. Well, actually, they're not because they have the demons too, but they are a partially human faction. Chaos Space Marines have as much in common with humans, almost to the point, as regular Space Marines. The difference is an extra tentacle or two.
God, I hate being congested.
I get that.
Fuck you, allergy season.
Imagine being congested and having COPD where you already produce more mucus.
Wow, gross. I haven't played with enough people to know that separating them is pretty easy due to the overlap of differences being pretty clear. The rules just kind of naturally separate in your head. I've never experienced that, so I can't speak to that. I would imagine, though, it's pretty difficult for most people to try and mix game systems. But again, I'm just thinking about it from like the general perspective of someone who just plays like one game at a time. Like if you play all of them, I could see you being able to differentiate the systems very clearly, especially if you play all of them regularly. But if you're someone who just plays Kill Team, but you don't play any of the other games that you're trying to mix systems with, then you're gonna be completely thrown off. Like that's just a logical breakdown from where I'm coming from. Space Marines are the Emperor's angels. Why the hell should the sisters hate them? Well, again, it's from the perspective of, as Ludus brought up, they can be very easily seen as abhuman or mutants, and then you also have the big thing that I think that would lead the sisters to not liking the Space Marines is
how many of them fall to chaos.
They're the reason that the Emperor is a corpse at the moment.
Yeah.
And the Horus Heresy was Space Marines, primarily, on both sides of the fight, so...
And I don't think it's necessarily outright hating, I just think it's massively distrusting.
Yeah.
Because if they hated them, there would be a lot more of inter-faction fighting between them. Yeah, a lot more.
There really isn't that much. It's just minor stuff here and there. Hey, Dragonis, I returned after eating the pizza. Awesome. Alright, so this is the conversation between between Mini Wargaming Dave, who is big into chaos like you are.
Good.
He loves chaos. You should see his Why We Love episode where he brings up his chaos force. It's fucking ridiculous. But and then there's Play on Tabletops. JT McDowell, he does a lot of the voiceover and narration of the matches. I fucking love his narrations. It's very entertaining. Thoughts on Necromunda Hired Gun? I'm pretty sure you've asked this before, Ace. But if I need to reiterate, I think a first-person shooter in the 40k universe that's not a Space Marine can be fun. And they have the potential to just... Again, I'm not expecting it to be like Call of Duty level great or anything. But
Yeah.
if we can get... In my opinion, if we can just nail a mediocre FPS, that'll be good. And that'll be good. For 40k games, a mediocre FPS is better than what we've got in the past.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'll take a mediocre shooter. I'm hoping it's not me. I'm hoping it's like... much better than mediocre, but if it ends up just being mediocre, that's still a win in my book for a 40k game, especially for FPS.
Gavin Isaac says, "Hey, Asmo and Ludus, have you seen Archer's new Skaven RP? If so, what do you think of it?" I have not seen it yet, but I want to because I love Skaven.
Oh shit, it's my chat not updating the same rate as you. Why?
You probably have top chat and I have live chat.
I just switched to live chat. I don't see it. Oh wait, was it earlier and I missed it? Yeah, it was. Okay, sorry. Hey Asmo and Ludus, have you seen it? Okay, yeah. I actually saw the end of it. Like, I saw it was live when I was on YouTube, and I finally had like a free moment to breathe between working on stuff. So I just opened it up, planned on saying hi, maybe throwing a super chat their way. Unfortunately, no super chats on that channel yet. But I opened up, and from the little bit I saw, they seem to be having fun.
Oh yeah. And like I said, it's one of the things where I really love Skaven, so I would really love to sit and watch it. But it's what, 2 hours long?
Kind of late. Hey guys, hey Nameless Scholar, what's up, man? Welcome to the podcast. But yeah, I will probably, when I have the free time, it'd be nice to check out and like listen to the whole. So I find it weird that Arch and Kibbs are doing a tabletop RP. The same time me and my group of friends are doing a D&D game that I'm putting up on YouTube.
By the way,
that is coincidental, by the way. Like, that wasn't like... There was no crossover. I had no idea that Arch and Kibbs and Bubs and all of them were doing a Skaven RP. The same time I was running a D&D campaign for me and my friends.
I was very wrong. It's not 2 hours long. It's 4 hours long.
Wait, what is?
Their RP. The first episode of their RP. It's 4 hours and 12 minutes.
Doesn't surprise me. And like I said, I caught the end of it, though, when it was live. But I didn't actually watch the whole thing.
So for me, like, after I get done today, I've got to take Taylor to work, and then I've got to record my ass off tonight, because I'm way behind. So I will watch it when I have the time to. It's just, I never have time. Especially for 4 hours. And that's not me, like... That's not me saying shit about Arch or, say anything bad about him. It's just, I would love to watch it. I can.
Yeah. And I'll probably get the opportunity to listen to it when I'm editing stuff. But, on that. But a good time is to announce that I'm actually immediately jumping on the next In a Nutshell. Already started researching it. I won't, you already know what it is if you watched the latest one. It's just it's the Ascension of the Necrons is the title. And... You can derive for that. It's pretty much all the rest of the events of their origin story, past what I already covered.
They go from Necron tier to actual Necron.
No, I did that at the very end of the first lore video of them the biotransference. But I'm actually going to be covering all the events that precede that in obviously in the nutshell style. So brief, summarized. All that's going to be summarized in the next episode. If I'm lucky, I'll get it up in the next 2 weeks.
Dragonos Wolflord said, Esmagon, how hyped are you for Darktide?
Not as hyped as I was, but I'm looking forward to it.
I'm very interested to see where it goes, mostly because I've been playing Dead Island here lately. It's kind of getting me interested in that Vermintide and actually even to an extent the Starktide playstyle. So I'm starting to get more into it.
Hmm.
So I'm interested to see what happens with it. But GW can screw up anything. So
Ace says, I personally thought Space Hulk Deathwing was alright. Not great, but alright.
I haven't beaten it yet, so I have no opinion.
Oh, by the way, Ace, you want to come on as a guest sometime to this podcast? I don't think we've ever had you on as a guest. I know we have a huge 40k slant with what we cover, but it'd be good to have you on sometime. Just talk nerdy stuff. We don't really...
And if you won't, and if you're on Asmogon's Discord, you can come in as a caller.
Dark Tide. Nathan. Yeah, I gotta round up a couple of the buds over on the Discord when Dark Tide launches and get everybody to join a squad and play and stream it. That'd be fun.
I will try to do it, but it depends on my work schedule.
Yeah, I'd be up for it, I guess.
Well,
if you're gonna put it that way, I guess. No, I don't want you on now. It's like, oh yeah, I'd be up for it, I guess. You're gonna drag me in and bother me, okay?
No, for Dark Tide, I should be off Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if it's one of those days, it should be a lot easier for me to do it. Other than that, I go in at 4 o'clock in the afternoon every day, except for Sunday. And when I go in at 9 in the morning and work until they tell me not to.
Alright.
Double suck.
I bet. Alright, so... Let's see here.
Just need to do some preparation so I have something material-wise to go over.
Yeah, real quick. Okay. I got a DM from... I'm gonna look at that later. I'm gonna share my screen with you. Hold on.
Mine was just that meme that I sent you. It's that gift that I sent you.
Alright. Cool. Can you, over on the Discord, can you see my screen?
Over on the Discord, can I see your screen?
Yeah, I've never tried streaming simultaneously to YouTube and Discord.
Yes, I can.
Alright.
MiniWargaming.com. Welcome, Wargamers, to the Shrine of Chaos. Today we have a very special...
Can you not hear it?
No, I can. I have to turn it up.
Alright.
Your microphone is louder than it.
Well, it should be.
Yes, you've heard his voice before, and if you haven't...
Dan's also
hear
not a
his
loud talker.
voice, and then you'll never forget it.
It's a huge undertaking and a huge part of a lot of people's lives. A huge part of my life. I mean, good grief. We have a channel dedicated to making Warhammer battle reports, for crying out loud. Mm-hmm. That's a big chunk of, half a dozen of us.
Right. And again, before we continue any further, everyone who's interested in this full convo, we're not going to be showing the whole thing, just the part that specifically we're going to discuss about like why people complain about Warhammer so much. Just that specific conversation we're going to be going over. But if you want the full convo between JT McDowell and Mini Wargaming's Dave, please go check that out, guys. It's a great conversation, I think, and I think they have a pretty genuine dialogue over the course of this Shrine of Chaos episode. But we're only going to go over specifically the bit about like why people complain about Warhammer so much. So I'm going to hopefully skip to the right point.
Keep playing and a little more, but but in the meantime, a lot of people are complaining about it. Mm-hmm. Right. And you know what? Complain away. Like I'm not gonna begrudge somebody who wants to complain about it.
I think this
Let
is a good place to start.
That's their hobby. If that's fun for them, great. I don't have to listen. I can just scroll right by, and that's the wonderful thing about the internet. It's also the worst thing about the internet is that you can just scroll right by. You don't have to listen to it. You can agree with it or not. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to complaining isn't new, and it's not just about the Drakari Codex. I mean, you and I have been in this, I hate to say this, but we've got probably over half a century between us of gaming experience when we really think about this. There's always been somebody complaining about something. I mean, we can go all the way back to, and remember early fantasy. I remember, was it 5th edition fantasy where the Dark Elves and the repeating crossbow silliness was just insane? The bolt throwers. It was the bolt throwers.
Okay.
You remember that? I
Okay,
mean, and
So this is something I have heard
I'm
of.
not familiar with
Not
what they're
experienced,
referencing
but
here.
yes.
oh, am I that old?
I don't know if you would be.
Well, okay, so to be fair, I've never played
no,
Fantasy, so
also, I'm putting the link in
yeah,
your
I
Discord
could be a
and-
veteran player, and
Thank you.
I still
Okay.
wouldn't.
I should
But I have
probably-
heard of it.
Let me link this specific video as well in the YouTube chat.
because I put it in your vid sharing and under my promotion tabs in our Discord.
Yeah. For anyone who wants to check out the video at some point, please, that's the link. I'm sharing it right now. But yeah, let's continue.
Of it because I've just heard it in passing and talking about it, right? Because you're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I've heard it before because it was such a big deal.
It was huge, and that was where a lot of times things like army comp. So if you take X unit, you're deducted Y points and stuff like that would happen. So that was something that happened because the game was inherently imbalanced, and at the time, Games Workshop.
That is something to Carter Corn just said this in the chat. He said, "I can only bitch about the lore. I never played the tabletop." That is something to note. The main complaining that they're going to address in this is people complaining about the tabletop, but I think there's plenty of what they bring up that can also be associated with the people who complain about lore. So that's something to note.
That wasn't really
but the main
into
thing
the
they're discussing
balancing
is
aspect
tabletop.
of it. They were into making cool models, and they've really come around on that in the last few years. There's been some other game systems that have kind of died because their rule systems just didn't hold up, and I can think of a few right now. I won't mention them out of fairness to them, but whenever it's head off from across the map, and that's not every game has it. Every game has complaining, and I think it's ingrained into the hobby. Like I really think it's part of it. I mean, I've taken part in it. We all have at some point.
Is it healthy?
I don't think it is. I think some people need to get that release, and I think, and it's funny. I think that there's the hobby is a release for a lot of people. It's you can phase out of existence for a while, and you can be on the tabletop, and your level of immersion varies on who you are and how much you want to put into it. But I think for some people to get that angst out and that energy out and that stress of the day out, maybe they bring that into the game and then they complain about the game and it takes it away. Maybe there's a transference that goes on there. I'm sure there's psychiatry professors and stuff watching us right now that can tell us better how that works. But it's also funnier. The older I get, the less that I care about those things. So I think that's part of this too. But I know guys my own age who still grumble about.
And that's gonna be the first major point I want to address. When it comes to like people complaining about not just Warhammer but about things in general, I've started to notice this a lot more lately. But people who are typically I want to say like 16 to my age to about 28, that whole block of like youth, are typically the most aggressive when it comes to like complaining or hating on or being voracious about things. Like I brought this up a little bit in yesterday's stream that I did. When it comes to people complaining about hobbies and stuff online, and you can say there's a bit of this that applies to like the people who are in my age bracket as well when it comes to politics. For some, I don't, again, I'm not, like they said, I'm also not a psychology major or anything like that, but when it comes to younger people getting, like, really aggressive about, and I've been pretty damn aggressive at times when it comes to my hobbies, to the things I care about, to the things that I'm a fan of, and I've noticed, though, that some people almost get militant, like they, almost, completely irrational anger. Like, for me, I like to think that I tend to keep it reined in. Like, I get angry, I think, at the appropriate times when it comes to, like, GW, when it comes to Marvel or DC, or when it comes to the things I'm a fan of. I tend to think that I rein in enough that I'm being a little bit over the top, but I'm also reining in I'm not going full psycho. Like, right. I understand, like, rationally that it's a company, they're going to make bad choices because they think it's good PR, that happens. But the thing is, I've seen people get, like I said, militant. Like, just... especially, the good example, I think, is Primaris. Like, how people responded to that. The people who hated the Primaris lore explanation, who went on social media and hated it, I've encountered these people who hate it so thoroughly that they won't acknowledge any good things about it. There are people out there who hated on Primaris so hardcore that they even said, "Oh, the models look like total trash and garbage. Oh, the miniatures look like garbage too." It's like, no, like, just because you were angry at the lore explanation doesn't mean you can tell me that the models look like garbage. They don't look like garbage. You're being dishonest. Listen, again, you're allowed to be angry and hateful of something, but be rational about it. Seriously, like, someone mentioned it on the stream yesterday, actually, as well. Some people who say that stuff are people who are only fans of the lore and that's why their hatred is so all-consuming. That but they feel like it's necessary to also hate on, for some reason, hate on the models, the hate on the minis as well. They feel like they also have to speak to that, or they feel like their opinion isn't as valid. I don't think so. I think you can hate on one aspect of something if you genuinely feel like it deserves it, and you genuinely feel like it fails to meet your expectations as a fan. You're allowed to do that, but I think that the moment you lose any kind of rational thinking, or I don't know, that seems to happen a lot more in the younger age bracket. Like, just this completely over-the-top, militant, irrational hatred. Like, they feel like because they hate one aspect of something so thoroughly, they now have to hate, like, the all-consuming border of it.
Right.
Like, I've seen that a lot.
So it's like, for me, you know, and I know you stand on the same... you stand on the same side of this argument as me. We both had canon Erda, so Erda doesn't exist. I mean, we just don't like that lore. Yeah. We think it's nonsensical. But
I'll play up my hatred of Erda for the fun of it, and for the entertainment value. But in reality, I don't actually like vitriolically hate the character or anything. I just play that up for fun. But
it's to the point where, you know, we don't say, you know, well, fuck the entire Primarch story because now it doesn't make sense. You know, we're just like, nah, that doesn't make sense. The original story made a lot more sense with the Chaos Gods acting out of self-preservation. So that makes more sense. So we're just not going to deal with the Erda bullshit because it doesn't make sense. And that's about where we kind of leave it.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think the idea of, like, something new that's bad ruining what was that is good, I don't think that follows. Like, I think a lot of people who say that are really going over the top. Like, oh, The Last Jedi ruined all of Star Wars.
I'll say this.
No, it didn't.
I will say this. I haven't had a desire to watch Star Wars in a very long time. The last time I watched any of the movies has been probably over 5 or 6 years ago. So I have had no desire to watch any of the movies. One, because I watched them a lot when I was younger. Used to really like Star Wars, so I'm just kind of over it now. But there's been nothing to make me want to watch the new movies because I see what it is. I'm like, nah, I'm not interested.
Man, I think that's where it should be left at, though, is just at saying I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Don't worry, and I enjoy shit talking The Last Jedi. I enjoy shit talking Rise of Skywalker. I love that because I find it funny. But
you love shit talking that as much as I love shit talking the space.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where if you take it too seriously, you're gonna have an ulcer.
No, absolutely, and it's just.
I'll definitely play up my hatred of something, like in a stream or in a video, for the entertainment value, because people love, like, that over the top, like, ragey stuff. And if you can play that up, and I think it's just not acting. It's just like letting yourself be irrational for a few minutes for the entertainment. I let that happen from time to time. But since we're having the conversation, if I'm actually being rational and actually being fair, I don't think The Last Jedi ruins the original trilogy. I always like the prequels, and there are some people who say the new movies have made a newfound appreciation for the prequels. For me, I always like them. So
they don't suck as bad.
It's like, again, like I can kind of get that. Like, I kind of get, like, something really bad now putting something that you thought was bad into perspective. It's like, it's not as bad as it could have been. Like, I get that kind of thinking, but the thinking of, like, oh, this bad thing somehow ruins its predecessor, it doesn't connect. One came after the other. one. It may be associated with it, but it's a follow up. It's not inherently connected to it, to the point where it can ruin the original.
Well, it's like, and for all my bitching and complaining, even I'll go to say the Space Wolves really aren't the worst Legion. I just like making fun of them because they're kind of easy to make fun of, especially for me. You know,
there are a couple different chapters that are easy to make fun of.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. But it is to the level of, you know, realistically, my problems with the Space Wolves are really that, for me, all they are Space Vikings. And, you know, I'm not saying that isn't cool, but at the same time, it's just like, that's kind of, they're Space Vikings that can turn into werewolves. Like, okay, that's kind of cool, but what else do they do? No, that's pretty much it. Like, oh, well, fuck.
Real quick in the chat, I just want to address a couple comments.
Okay.
The newer generations grow up in the internet, and actually, me and Alex talked about this yesterday on the stream because he was kind enough to hop on the call. Thank you for that, by the way, Alex. And think that the real world is like what they see online, in my opinion. And the thing is, I don't think you're entirely wrong. I think that is an influence, but I think the inherent aggression, the militant mindset, I think someone touched on this as well in the chat yesterday, is I think a reason young people in particular, and I'm not saying there are no older folks who don't get like super serious and over the top about stuff when it comes to hobbies, and like fictional stuff. They do. Like, every age can be a fan and committed to something. Like that's not something that's uniquely tied to age. But I think that the jump to like this open aggression and militant mindset is more prevalent in someone who's younger. And someone touched on, like I said, someone touched on this in the chat yesterday. They said that I think it comes from like a lack of purpose. Like younger people, because they're still trying to grow up and they're still younger and they still haven't really figured out who they are. That's the thing. I don't think people fully figure out like who they are and are completely okay in their own head with themselves until they're like 35 or older. And even then, they're still old. I really like. Actually, you can actually. Here's a good way to break it down. So you know the average gal, like girl, in America, right? Raised more. I want to say like. Not the term.
I'm very curious where this is going.
Okay, follow me here. So my birth father, who I've never met and don't know, he worked in a nursing home with older women and older folks there. And the old gals that were there were extremely horny, were extremely like hitting on all the male nurses, and and were completely sexually overt. Because
that's where I thought you were going with that.
Because well, hear me out. Because, and with that same notion, those same gals, when they were younger, were probably taught, hey, I gotta be more reserved, I gotta be more, you know, like, I can't be seen as, like, slutty or something like that, so they gotta be, like, So when you're younger, you're much more self-conscious about how you're viewed by others, you're much more, you're more socially concerned with things around you. But with age comes comfort in and of yourself. Like, comes a realization that I don't give a fuck what other people think of me. I like me. I'm gonna be me. So at some point, they kind of just drop all those like self-censors and what's the term?
Yeah.
Mental blocks, and they kind of drop all that stuff because they eventually at some point just find, fuck it. I'm comfortable with who I am. I'm who I am. Like, no one can tell me I'm wrong for being that. And I think, like, when you look at, like, the old horny old ladies in the nursing home like that, if you really, like, break it down, that's how the process works. When you're younger, you feel like what other people think of you matters, and you feel that you need to be what they want you to be accepted, because you care about that stuff. Because again, you have a desire and craving for purpose. And it's because you crave those things that you feel that you need to appease others. Once you get older and you realize that your purpose all along was whatever you wanted it the fuck to be, like it's who you are, and everybody else around you, may have had a factor in affecting who you could be, but at the end of the day, you are the main agent in your life. You are the main representative for yourself in everything you do. And the greatest gift you can do for yourself is be yourself.
Right.
Be honest with like who you are. Be honest with the humor you find funny. And don't, like, censor yourself and constrict yourself just because you feel like other people are going to be heavily affected by it. I feel like that's a very good idea of looking at it. And to circle back to, like, why people get, like, so aggressive and hateful and angry and militant over hobbies, I think that derives a little bit from that mental state. Like, because... hear me out. Because you have, like, this lack of purpose, because you're still kind of, quote-unquote, finding yourself as you're younger, inherently, because that stress and all that, like, angst is in your head of not knowing what you're allowed to be around others, when you get on the internet and you're a fan of something and it's getting shit on, or you're a fan of something and something bad happens to it and quote-unquote ruined it for you, all of a sudden, on top of the internet anonymity, and on top of the all that angst going on in the head of the youth, you blow the fuck up. You go all out. You threaten to dox people. You threaten to attack people in real life because they ruined your hobby. Because your one true pairing in this movie didn't end up happening, this romance you wanted didn't end up happening, now you feel that the director should be shot. This psychotic, like, militant mindset that we see in again, my age bracket, I think derives a little bit from that, like, comfort in oneself. And from that mindset of, wanting to be accepted IRL, so when you have the anonymity of the internet on top of all that angst of pretending to be someone you're not, it blows up into something big on the online. I think that's why we see so much of it.
Right.
Now that's where I'm deriving all that stuff from. That's my personal take. But I don't know. Hopefully I made sense to most people as well. Like, if I didn't, feel free to say so, but that's my deduction based on the reasoning I've seen and also my own experience with dealing with other people online. Let me catch up with the chat a little bit here.
I mean, I can absolutely agree with that.
Jonas Warford, I like the old Star Wars games, and I mean stuff around the year 2000. The books are also cool from that time. Yeah, I agree. The Legends now, unfortunately. Thank you as well. It was hella fun. Yeah, also thank you for coming on, Alex. Much appreciated. And we'd love to have you on. Or I'd love to have you. I can't speak for Ludus and I on this show.
Yeah.
When we do have callers, it's like we usually limit it to 1 or 2 questions. That way, give other people an opportunity. We will open up for calls, by the way, today a little bit, if Ludus is okay with it.
Yeah. Like I said, as long as it's about 3:30, I don't care, because I got to take Taylor to work tonight.
Okay. Do you want to save the video you recommended then for next time? Because we're going to probably cover this for another good chunk of minutes.
Yeah, because you said you got to be out by 2:30 to do...
Yeah, do stuff with Ace.
Yeah. If you want, I can touch on mine real quick, because mine won't take that long, or we could just save it for next time and we can have an in-depth discussion about it.
Which would you prefer?
It's up to you, man.
No, it's not. This is a 2-party event here. Like, you're my co-host, not my whipping boy.
No, I'm saying I'm literally okay either way, because what we could do is kind of do it as a because he also, like, does other... For those of you who don't know, I picked out a different YouTuber to talk about, because he did a... he's from... I think he said South Africa. I could be wrong. But he was talking about someone warned him how there was no diversity in 40K, but he does a lot of 40K videos talking about how much he loves it. So we could make this kind of like a bigger thing next week, where we talk into like some of his love for 40K, and why it's actually kind of funny someone coming up to him not knowing that would say that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Also, this is the behind the scenes shit that no one else sees.
Let me catch up with chat. Technically, yes. Crawford Eldar want to be special and good because their race is one of the worst ones out there. I mean, who can say They single-handed created a chaos god. I mean, the level of fucked up. Where is that coming from? I don't think we were talking about Garfield over there. Just bored people on the internet. I mean, that's another way to sum it up as well. Some people who have nothing else to do also hate on the internet.
AR just put new Plastic Thunderhawk announced.
Oh, is the article up? I don't want to cut off this current. Let me refresh. Day 3. Nope, that's the other thing. Come on, where's day 4? Is day 4 up? I don't see it. I see Paint Like a Pro with new STC arranged into synthetic brushes and community painting competition. Is it something else? Or do I need to refresh again?
Refresh. He's trolling.
Oh, trolling. Okay. Gotcha. That's a troll, my dude. Gotcha. Note to self: don't trust anything AR says going forward. Understood.
Pretty much.
Alrighty. So, there's the only other thing about their conversation I really wanted to go over, and again, if you want to listen to like the full convo between Mini Wargaming Dave and JT McDowell from Play on Tabletop, please go check out the episode. I'll link it once more in the chat here for you guys. It's a great convo. Yeah, it's an hour long, but if you're in the middle of working on something or doing something, please check it out. They have a very solid conversation, I think. So, I'll link it again in the chat for you guys. Alright, so with that said, let me see if I can find that one other point that they made.
On everything.
No, they made a lot more. One other point I wanted to address.
Why? Why? If you complain about the game so much, why are you playing? And if you complain about the players you play against, you know there's one common denominator that exists there in every game you play, and it's you.
Yeah.
So is it you, or is it the player?
Or is it the player? Yeah. So, okay, so someone left an interesting comment here. They said, I stopped watching a number of YouTube channels that just turned into GW hate vids. That's a curious thing, too, because that is kind of its own thing that has morphed into existence.
It has, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rants and raves and raging against the game manufacturer. Again, I think it's that entitlement thing, right? You feel invested. Entitlement's not the right word. Invested. You feel invested.
Okay.
I think a lot of times with when we talk about toxic fan bases, and Star Wars has got to be one of the worst. I have a 14-year-old son, and he comes to me and says, "Dad, why do people hate on this? Why do people hate on this?" And I'm like, because they don't get it, man. It's just don't. You try to explain it to them, and people hating on the different prequels and the sequels and all this stuff. Like, yeah, well, they're meant for a 10-year-old kid. They're not meant for a 40-year-old grown man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, watch Star Wars again. The movie's crap. The movie really is.
I don't agree with that.
I love the movie.
It
is a seminal work in science fiction. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. But the movie's kind of dumb. Like it's literally
kind of.
Boy grows up,
but
boy
fun.
Finds mentor,
and is good.
Boy saves the day. Like, this is not an epic storytelling journey. The movie was just cool to watch, and it was fun, and that's what it was meant for. But if you watch it if you can put yourself in the mind of a 10-year-old kid and watch Star Wars, dude, you'll love it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's for.
I'm 21 and I don't put my head in that mindset.
I don't know if there's
I still enjoy it, so I don't know what that says about me.
What's the word? Nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
That's
just
maybe
me.
That's what causes some complaints.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see top tier players worrying about the state of a competitive meta in a 40K game or in a tabletop game because they're deriving.
Okay, so in my position where I don't focus on the competitive nature of the game, I focus on more so the story.
People complaining?
Yeah. Why are there more so curiosity?
And I can see how that could ramp some angst up for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's, as the beneficiary of amazing Drukhari rules, and they are. Don't know what any of this looks like.
They bring up the
Yeah.
price,
Yeah.
and
So-
the pricing and stuff. So
It's all unknown. So I see where the angst comes from and the frustration and the anger. But that complaining part of the hobby has existed as long as I can remember it. And I used to take part in it. I mean, I get it. I look back now and wonder, what the heck was I doing? I don't get it. I just don't anymore. You know, I've played at some of the top tables in the world, and I've played in some of the top events in the world, and I have more fun just playing the game than trying to win the game.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Right.
okay. So here's an interesting comment. So, Full Frontal on YouTube says, "I feel that the price of the game is the biggest thing
this is
that
where it
people
starts,
complain
okay.
about, and rightfully
So yeah, they bring up
so.
the pricing.
So let's talk about the
and
price
their
of the game
take
for a
on
second.
this.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Price of the game.
This is a big source for a lot of people of frustration with Games
is it,
Workshop, and like I mentioned earlier,
why
the
would
more
people
and more
complain
I've been
about that?
thinking about
Is
it,
it because
expensive.
It's expensive.
the less
It keeps
I'm
seems to keep
blaming
going up.
GW
It doesn't
for
seem to
this
keep going
particular
down.
one.
But then again, nothing ever does go down.
But is it not relative to, like, okay, let's say there's another hobby you want to get into.
Oh, I got one for you.
Gardening.
Golf.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's
Golf.
right. That's an expensive hobby.
Yeah.
Gardening is. You do it every year. You drop thousands of dollars if you own a house.
Yep.
Yeah, just to maintain your gardens or whatever, right?
Shovels break.
Shovels break.
Hoses leak.
Plants die. You know, like there's.
Yep.
So it's interesting. So is it expensive? Well, compared to what? Compared to other hobbies? It's like in my mind that's a weird one because it's the price is what it is,
Yep.
and you have the choice to buy it. So is it? Help me understand this.
It's a tough one because the game looks incredibly attractive. It's marketed to. It's not marketed to guys our age. It's marketed to teenagers, to early 20-somethings. This is the target audience for these guys, that 18 to 34, right? And even before then, you see an older brother or you see a friend playing it and you think it looks really cool. But for a 15-year-old to go in and spend $80 on a kit, that's a lot of money for a 15-year-old.
Yep.
And I get that. And then when you realize that, holy crap, this is so expensive, it's the difference between what I want to make my army and what I need to make my army. It's the same thing in gardening. It's the same thing in golf.
Which is the big point that I brought up in my stream yesterday. Which is, they made a very good point, and not that I haven't thought about it that way before, I have. It's just when I typically break down my thoughts on like the expense of 40K as a hobby. I think I said it best at yesterday's stream. I'm gonna hope I can reword myself correctly. But I think when it comes to 40K as a hobby, the more I think about it as a hobby, it's not that expensive, not that much more expensive, I should say, sorry, than other hobbies. And hear me out on this, because like JT just said, it depends on what you are willing to spend. Like, you can play Kill Team and not full 40K and spend like what, $80 on everything that you'll need, not including paints and stuff like that can charge up quite a bit. But it's, you can play Kill Team, you can play full-fledged 40K, which, yeah, that'll cost a pretty penny, especially if you're getting one of the bigger armies. But just like with 40K being a super expensive hobby, if you let it be, it's no different for other hobbies like golf or gardening.
Right.
Because in those, it's the same kind of deal. You can get the bare minimum of what you need and not spend as much as others who engage in that hobby, who spend 10 times what you do for all the extra bells and whistles that aren't necessary. Like, you can get a 500-point army in 40K, especially with the combat patrols, with just 140 books dropped right there. That's it. And if you want to run with that forever, that's fine. You now can play the game with just that and call it good. Whatever you choose to do going forward, that's entirely on you. Like, do you want to get new models for this? Do you want to get more models for this side of thing? Do you want you want to play ultra competitively? You want to play ultra casually? Like with any hobby, you choose how much you spend on it. And though, like I said, I've said many times how I hate on GW's pricing, and I still do. But like I said earlier,
The stream went down.
Oh, stream's down? What? Why? Says I'm still live on Streamlabs.
Oh no, it dropped on mine. It's looking like it's fine now, but it actually like dropped to go to a new video on mine. But now it's saying it's back up, so...
That was weird.
Yeah, Dragona said it blinked out and returned.
Hold on. Where did it cut me off? People who are watching the stream.
I don't know, because I'm listening directly to you.
I know, that's why I'm asking the chat. Where did it cut me off? Yeah, that is weird, because the thing is, normally if there's like some kind of frame rate drop or a signal drop, Streamlabs will note it. It isn't noting it. As far as Streamlabs is concerned, we didn't even blink. Huh. All hobbies inevitably get expensive. One might have an argument in terms of the cost of entry level and beginning stuff for those just getting started. Correct. And the thing is, that's to try and get back on where I was talking, which I now don't know where I was cut off. But yeah, the cost of a hobby is entirely dependent on the hobbyist. Like, how much you want to spend on it is up to you. If you want to spend ultra minimalist, you can. And
yeah.
Even again, if with GW's products in particular, you don't have to play full-fledged 40K. Like, that's an option. But you can also play, they have the other games like Adeptus Titanicus, which you just got to get like 1 or 2 of those smaller titans. You can play Kill Team, which is just, again, the small team combat version of 40K. Those are options you can have. Did it cut off again? Because on my phone...
It doesn't look like it on my end.
Alright, hold on. Because my phone...
it's fine on my end.
My phone said it disconnected for a second, but it could just be my phone. But, yeah, the price of a hobby is relative to what you're willing to spend.
Right.
It did briefly cut out again. Okay. That's very odd. Hopefully that's the last time it does that.
Oh, God. Why does it have to do that? Why does it take
Because the internet hates me, I guess. That or YouTube is sending us signals like, hey, shut the fuck up, I don't like you. Alright. Let's wait a second, just see if it does it one more time. If it does, we'll have to call the stream there, I'm assuming.
Okay.
Because I'd rather... I have no idea what's causing it. Alright.
Seems to be working.
Alright, hopefully it stays working. We're back. What did I miss? I'm assuming, or hoping, not much. We're just in the middle of talking about, like, the expense of 40K relative to other hobbies. Which, you know, when you really break it down, the expense of any hobby, I'll say it one more time, see if, maybe that's the magic word, maybe YouTube has a magic word to nuke streams. But it's relative to what you, the hobbyist, are willing to pay.
Right.
So, you know, golfing, for example, one thing that Alex actually brought up, the viewer who hopped on stream yesterday, that I pointed out was, and also Xerus was on the previous stream and said, well, you can't, Xerus said, you can't compare 40K or Warhammer to, to quote unquote what he said, practical hobbies like gardening or golfing. What he meant by that is he said, like, oh, in golfing you can it's a sport that you can make money at doing. And in gardening, he insinuated, you grow crops and you grow food for yourself. Well, that's not all gardening. That's hobby specific, and you could say that for 40K as well. Are there not content creators on YouTube who make a living painting miniatures, that make a living talking about the lore? There are people who do that. Luton, anybody? Midwinter Minis has a Patreon where people pay to keep him doing this full time, painting miniatures week to week, episode to episode. You could definitely argue that this hobby is no less practical than any other. Like, gardening can be practical to grow food and sell crops and make money doing that. But there are some gardeners who just grow maybe one tomato plant, or maybe just grow a bunch of flowers. They're not going to make bank doing that. There are golfers who just play golf, who never go pro, who never have the skill and ability to go pro, and never make a dime. They only ever spend. That's the majority of hobbyists in any hobby. So 40K, let alone any hobby, is no less practical than another. You can potentially make money at doing any hobby if you work it the right way. So I don't think the argument that golf, especially with golf, but golf and gardening are somehow more practical hobbies than 40K. Are they more? Do they formulate better skills? I would say, in a way, yeah. Like gardening in particular, learning and knowing how to grow your own crops, keep track of the weather, and know how to greenhouse stuff. There's a lot of practical knowledge with that. Don't get me wrong. But if we look at the core essence of what a hobby is, it's a pastime, and more or less it's work that you enjoy doing. And it's for your own gratification. That is what a hobby is at the end of the day. And so I don't agree with the notion that just because a rare few people in golf becomes pros and make bank kicking ass at playing golf, or a bunch of hardcore gardeners win like these giant golden trophies for this epic Venus flytrap from hell. Like I don't think that you should ever say that judge a hobby's practicality or usefulness based on the upper echelon of the people who turn that hobby into something more than it is on a base level.
Well,
you should always judge it by what the majority experience, and what the majority experience is a money well. You just keep throwing stuff at, because what you get back in return is enjoyment. You get back in return a time that you find well spent.
Adeptus Mechanicus Tech said, I think it's more so is the price justified versus other miniature games.
And even if we look at that, again, that's not on GW. That's the thing. As much as, don't get me wrong, I'm not shilling for GW here. To even think about putting the prices that they do on things is crazy to me. But like I said earlier, I'm blaming the hobbyists more and more. Because think about how many whales buy out the latest collector's edition. Do you guys remember the video I did forever ago, where I talked about GW? I really laid into that was one of the times I was genuinely pissed at GW. When they had released that collector's edition core rulebook for 9th edition, it was $210 for just the rulebook, nothing with it. For the collector's edition rulebook, that had, in my opinion, a less interesting cover, $210. Base variant, $60.
Well, and Marlena Moreau said, yes, there are several systems that are way cheaper, and that's also kind of the point we're making here.
Yeah.
If you really want to
the hobbyist, choose what hobby you engage in. And if you want Games Workshop's hobbies to be cheaper, stop buying 40K stuff.
Yeah.
The thing is, we all know GW don't turn off the comment section of their fucking YouTube videos. They don't listen verbally to the consumer. They never will. And in my opinion, they don't necessarily have to. Because what is more important to listen to? The dollars or ranting people on the internet?
And also think about it this way. Let's say they have a beginner set that's 70, 80, 90 bucks. Okay? And yeah, there are people bitching on the internet, but there's more people buying that starter set than there are people bitching. Exactly. So really, which one's going to matter?
Vote with your dollar. It's a classic thing. And again, this is why I'm starting to blame GW less and less. The people that are the problem aren't GW. They are a company making money. And they're freaking printing it at this rate because the whales are buying. If we want the hobby to be cheaper, if we want it to be more affordable, if we want all that stuff to improve, ranting at GW does nothing. You need to vote with your dollar. That's the only message they'll listen to.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So that's, again, I'm at this point I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not completely taking the blame off of GW. There is, just as the whales and the scalpers buy out everything on these extremely exorbitant prices, GW does very little to curb that stuff. Granted, they're a business. What does it matter how the product sells as long as it sells?
Right.
So I can't entirely blame them for that. But they don't exactly make any effort to facilitate sales to... The thing is, they could still make bank with their stuff, with the whales and everything, if they did made to order. But they do what Sony did with the PlayStation 5. They intentionally make like a stock set that they send out in pallets and ship out. And then once those are bought out, those are bought out.
Right.
And they intentionally do that because it creates scarcity and it jumps up the prices when the stuff finally does reach the market again. It's a shrewd business tactic, but it's a fair one. And again, they make their money either way, whether the scalpers and whales are there or not. So at the end of the day, can't really be as... I'm starting to come to the conclusion I can't really be as mad at GW as I can be at the scalpers, at the whales. They're the problem. GW are a business. They're going to go where the money goes. The money stops coming in, they're going to lower the price. It just hasn't stopped coming in. How do you suggest companies stop scalpers, just out of curiosity? Made to order. Basic made to order. Like if a company does pure made to order, scalpers are no longer a problem because they literally make the product in in connection to someone's specific order to it. Instead, as opposed to what they do now, which is they just make a set number of something, send it out and make it available, and then once all that's bought out, it's gone. They now have to take time to develop and manufacture that same stuff in another predetermined number of sets. If you do made to order, you get an order for somebody, you make it for that specific person and sell it to them. Get another order, make that specific product for that specific person and ship it out. Wouldn't that made to order cause prices to rise? No, it shouldn't affect price at all. Because again, they're still doing the manufacturing process. And the thing is, they can predict or estimate a number of made to orders and already have the manufacturing process of them just crafting this shit out on the assembly line. In preparation for made to orders. Made to order is a very solid way of combating the problem. And what of delivery times? Well, that's the thing. With delivery times, if they're sending out everything individually, that's the wrong way to do it. Well, at least from the manufacturing process or area. Like, if the business itself is shipping everything out directly from the business, and let's use GW as an example, from the UK, if they ship everything out from across the world from the UK, price is going to be fucking ridiculous. But if they make batches like they already do, send them to stores in other countries, and then ship them from there, not in bulk and more specific to order to different people, or they send them to stores and the stores hold on, like have a predetermined, like, hey, this one's for this person, this one's for this person, and that person comes and picks it up. There are ways to keep the price the same as it is while still fighting back against scalpers. Okay, I read that. I don't think this would work if they have physical stores. No, it would actually definitely work. Because you can set up the made to order with that store.
Yeah.
So when, like I said, when the manufacturer ships out in bulk, which is cheaper for shipping, to say a warehouse in a specific country, and then from there they send out like large batches to specific stores, The store will just have a list of people who have a made to order for this product, and then we'll basically just tag each of the new product that have come into stock for that person, and then give it to them. That's the product. Yeah, and you can also do bulk buy. That's the other thing. There are ways to fight back against scalpers. I'm not saying all this is easy. There's a lot more administrative stuff. They'd probably have to hire more people to set up the made-to-order system. But 1 or 2 extra people getting a job to handle a lot of the made-to-order specifics, as opposed and completely nuke scalpers as a problem, that it can be done. It's cheap. It's a cheap fix in the long run. But at the same time, companies don't have a lot of incentive to stop the scalpers, because again, the scalpers are unfortunately good for business, because if the scalpers are genuinely buying all the product with real money, it's not like they're stealing the stuff; they're buying it, so they are legitimately purchasing it, and because it's a predetermined manufactured stock amount that was shipped there, and it's all gone, now people can't buy it. That creates scarcity. So the scalpers can then sell the product online for like double, triple, and that also creates demand for the company itself, though. Because now people, because they don't want to buy these exorbitant prices from the scalpers, now they're going to be looking to the company. They'll be like, please make my new PS5. Please get it on the market so I can finally get a PS5 so I don't have to spend $2,000 with a scalper to get it now. And so now the company has an interest in increasing manufacturing. And maybe the company wants to come out and say, hey, well, because of COVID and because of all the holdup in our manufacturing process, we're gonna, unfortunately, just to help make ends meet and to help pay our workers hazard pay, wink wink nudge nudge, we're gonna increase the price, even though we already had a set price of the product. We're gonna increase it now because of the high demand. And so then now the company's making fucking bank.
I will say real quick that you got about 20 minutes before your other stream.
Yes, okay, thank you for that. Alright, we're going to get off that topic because I could continue to rant about that for another 5 hours.
That's why I was kind of like, you got about 20 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, also they get rid of models that would still sell. Example, Renegade Guard. But yeah. But yeah, we're going to get off that topic. Yeah, there's not much more about that I'm going to bring up in this specific stream. Between the conversation between Mini Wargaming Dave and Play on Tabletop JT McDowell. Please go check out their video. I'll link it one more time in the chat here. Please give this a watch. It's a great conversation between the two of them, and truly fantastic, and it's very enjoyable. So, any last stuff? We got for the next 10 minutes, we'll take in any call lines in the Discord. I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick, though, so I won't be able to pull anybody in for just a second. But yeah, hold on. We'll pull in any callers who want to call in. I'm going to run to the bathroom, like I said, but I'll be right back. And for the next 10, 15 minutes, we'll take some calls. I'll be right back.
Okay. And I will try to entertain the chat. Yes, Jabro, we do have the call-in. I am not going to dance. Good try. Not going to happen. But yeah, so, I mean, I agree with Asmagon on this one. I do think that the real issue as far as pricing does come down to, realistically, the people who pay for it. Because, like Asmagon said, vote with your dollar or, speak with your dollar. If there are cheaper alternatives, like say D&D has miniatures, or BattleTech has cheaper miniatures, then play those instead of 40K, and eventually they'll get the memo. Like, maybe we should lower the prices finally. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's kind of like until that problem gets fixed, which the way it's been going, I don't think it will, the prices will probably still be outrageous. Or buy a 3D printer and do it yourself, yeah. And as
I am Vic. Nobody hopping in the call line?
I can't pull people into the call line.
And did nobody jump in the call line?
Oh, no, not yet. So for anyone on the Discord, you can go ahead and jump in the call line, and then Asthma Guy can pull you into the stream call.
Yep. Dance with us, dance.
Mm-hmm.
Buy a printer like Asmogon. And you can. There's a lot of other stuff you gotta buy along with it, though. 3D printing is a hobby in itself, let me tell you.
Well, in Calkill, that wasn't really my point. My point is, if you do want to play, Tech Priest Alex is in the call line.
I see it.
If you do want to play, a game with miniatures, you don't necessarily have to buy, 40K. I was just using D&D and BattleTech as an example because those are the ones I knew of
Right.
off the top of my head.
Tech Priest Alex, you're on air. You're allowed to ask 1 or 2 questions. So shoot, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Well, this is going to be more of a lore question, but how would you make Chaos better or great again?
First thing I would do is nuke Failbadon.
Yes,
Okay,
kill
cool, that's
Abaddon.
awesome. I like that.
Nuke his ass. Who would be a good replacement? I don't. You're more of the chaos savvy than me for characters that could be a good replacement.
The best replacement, and he's not confirmed dead, would be Little Horse Axamand. Outside of that, you're probably not going to find many. Honestly, if I wanted to make Chaos great, I would probably I would have to put in a couple of retcons, honestly.
Actually, this could just be like a huge hole in my knowledge of Chaos lore.
Mm.
But we know Magnus and Mortarion are Chaos princes.
Demon Primarchs, yeah.
Yeah. I guess I've been wondering this for a while. Why aren't they in charge? Or one of them in charge?
Okay, so to give you an idea, all of the Traitor Primarchs, to my knowledge, that are still alive are Demon Primarchs. And
Yeah.
Why do they follow Felbadon when he leads a Black Crusade? Because they have things that, like in the case of Angron or Magnus, who I know specifically have been part of Black Crusades, I think even Mortarion, they do it essentially because I have nothing better to do, and this seems like kind of fun right now. They don't really do it out of servitude; they do it more out of boredom.
Well, yeah, but I could see one of them taking over if Failbadon finally dies.
Yeah,
they would all be horrible fucking choices, though. I mean, the best choice I could see, unfortunately, would be Perturabo.
Oh yeah. I'd agree with that. It's like my thing would be either Lorgar or Perturabo.
I think it was as a Chaos leader, definitely. I could actually see him because he's.
Well, no. Here's why. Because if any of the other 4 take charge, Fulgrim, Magnus, Mortarion, or Angron, one of the 4 Chaos Gods is going to get more power overall. So you would have to need someone like Perturabo, or actually even to an extent Lorgar, to lead because they're both Chaos Undivided.
Lorgar would be a good choice for someone who's a figure of hatred for the community. And he'd be
I like him.
he'd be a fun leader of chaos to hate.
He makes everyone hate him, which is great.
Exactly.
He's the best
Primarch. Would that not be the fitting Skeletor, so to speak, leader of the bad guys? The ultimate dickhead. And only choice to be better would be Erebus, but as far as I'm aware, he's gone.
I mean, or they could possibly do like a new guy, or just a new character or demon or whatever. They did it with,
but they'd have to really establish that character.
Yeah,
well,
it's like they did it with what's his face? He's one of Korn's bloodthirsters.
Well, that's why I say bring back Horus Axeman, because it's not confirmed that he is dead yet. He's just gone. So bring him back to take over for Abaddon, because he was one of the original Mournfall. He was one of the original 4 who had served under Horus before corruption. And if I'm not mistaken, he was also one of the 2 that served under Horus since almost the beginning. If I remember right, him and Torgadon were the 2 that served the longest by the start of the Horus Heresy.
I believe so.
I gotta remember Horus Axeman. Wasn't he the one that looked like Horus the most?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
That's why he was named after him. He was like mini me Horus.
I've been reading the Siege of Terra books, and apparently his head got chopped off by a what's his face?
Well, no, that would be impossible because Abaddon ended up telling him to essentially get the fuck out.
Well, what happened was I guess Torgadon
After the Siege of Terra. I'm gonna look it up now.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's the from my understanding it was what's his face? The renegade, the Sons of Space Wolves. The one main character of the Space Wolves that's fighting against Horus. He Torgadon escapes from this underground fight underneath the palace, and he's in this little hallway thing, escaping from this concrete, and that's fusing everything together, and he gets in this hallway and dies. He gets his head chopped off because he sees shoot, I forgot his name. Whatever. Yeah, just look it up. Look it up. I guess. But apparently he's dead. He got his head chopped off by the one main character guy. That's from my understanding. Yeah, Logan. And actually, the way he does it's actually pretty cool. It's he doesn't say anything. Torgadon's going Axeman's going no, you didn't.
Axeman captured Loken and brought him before Horus, and Loken escaped.
Yeah, well, this is all in the Siege of Terra books. That's the only one where I've heard it from.
Well, no, I know, that's why I'm trying to look it up now to verify, because I'm not seeing anything about him being dead. In fact, to my knowledge, is after the Horus Heresy, he was trying to lead with Abaddon, but because he wasn't quite as aggressive as Abaddon, that... Oh, no, he did die. But no, that's not... I guess that was a retcon.
Terra books are weird.
Yeah, I guess it must have been a retcon.
Keep in mind, folks, the Siege of Terra also introduced Erda.
Yeah.
So
yeah, which was horrible.
It's the series of retcons. Just saying.
I mean, I do think the fight was pretty cool. Was the final fight was actually kind of neat. The guy, Logan, just doesn't do it. Just doesn't say anything and just chops his head off. It's actually pretty cool.
No, he didn't chop his head off. He eviscerated him.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever it was.
Which is much more 40K.
Head chopped off? Nah, it's PG shit.
Let's just completely rip out all of their intestines with a chainsword. But no, so yeah, it was it's one of the things where, because Abaddon, like, for the longest time, my knowledge was that he had banished Axeman from the Black Legion. So that's why I was saying bring him back. But no, I guess you can't. So
yeah.
I do say, if that's the case, if we're picking anyone to lead in place of Abaddon, I'm going to say the Perturabo or Lorgar. And that is mostly because Perturabo is the ultimate throw.
Is Lorgar Chaos Undivided? I thought he was.
Both of them are. Yes.
Okay. I thought Lorgar was serving under a I thought he was serving under Tzeentch.
No, he serves under Chaos Undivided.
Okay.
And Lorgar I think Lorgar would be the better pick of the two, because he really is kind of the quintessential chaos worshiper. So he would be like the ultimate one set up to lead the forces of chaos.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, because I kind of really hate how GW's written him. Like, I do think that he could possibly be a good character. Like, there's like a little nugget of like gold in it. It's like, you could be a good character, but GW just sucks at writing you.
They do.
Yeah. GW sucks at writing a lot of things.
Yeah.
They're pretty bad at it. Well, the thing is, I don't want to piss down the writers' necks too much. I think most of the writers do the best that they can with what they have to work with.
Yeah.
I think the problem is when you're writing a series that you're not in control. That's the thing. When you look at any other series written by people, it's usually written by one person, right? So you have one cohesive vision and idea and tone, because one person is handling the story. They have in their mind a beginning, middle, and end, even if it's across multiple books. Like I mentioned earlier, Wereworld. It's not like Curtis Jobling wrote the first one, then some guy named Becker Witt wrote the second, and then some lady named Marianne J wrote the third book. No, it's Curtis Jobling all the way around, because he had one consistent idea and vision he wanted for his books. Look at Harry Potter. J.K. Rowling wrote all of them. Consistent, flowing tone. Consistent, flowing characters. Consistent, flowing everything. Because it's one person keeping the vision consistent. The moment you... in the same series of books have 30 different authors doing different books, there's no consistency. These authors might work very well together, might talk to each other, might do their utmost to make sure the tone is consistent between each other. But at some level, there's going to be a raw difference between how each and every single one of them handle not only just the writing, but how the characters act, how the tone flows, how the humor is handled. Unfortunately, that's the reality of once you hand off the buck to a different person who didn't start the idea. They're just taking it. They're taking the baton and running with it and handing it off to somebody else.
You going to make you really sad real quick, Asmagon? Because I remember something you said earlier, and something in the chat reminded me of this. So you were talking about like handing over a type of book over to Dan Abnett because he's one of your favorite writers.
He's one of mine, yeah.
Yeah, he wrote Saturnon.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's behind Erda.
I know.
He's
still one of my favorite writers. No. That doesn't change just because he wrote one bad book.
I mean, no, I still love...
Well, to be fair, I haven't read all of Saturnine. I just know that is... that Erda is introduced in it.
Yeah.
So it might be a very well-written book and that the Erda stuff is shoehorned in, but...
Right.
As far as... I have not read the actual book. I've read the Lexicon entry on Erda, and I've read the wiki... well, I couldn't find a wiki entry, but there's other articles and stuff written about the specific entry with Erda.
Yeah.
I've also spoken with people who have read it and have given me their general review, which one out of like the 6 people I've talked to about it who've read that specific section had anything positive to say about it. Most everybody else seemed to really hate it. I do, with how much I have bitched about Erda, I probably do owe that book a read. To be fair to it, just like I gave Warhammer Adventures a chance. Although that bit me in the ass, so maybe I should rethink that being fair process. But as far as the Erda stuff goes, I love Dan Abnett as a writer. I think he's a pretty solid writer, especially with the 40K books and Black Library. Not every writer is going to write gold every single time, though. Everyone has their bump in the road.
It's 2:30, by the way.
Ah, fuck. All right. Thank you, Tech Priest Alex, for hopping in and being our caller, asking questions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ludus, for being my co-host as always. And hope everybody has a great afternoon and evening. And yeah, see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Have a good one, guys.